Hey everybody, welcome to the Red Zone. Shaun and Mike here. Another week, another video. Last week we had the big news that everybody was talking about, which was the Big Ten, Pac-12 canceling their seasons, and the Big 12 continuing on. Did I say Big 12? I meant Big Ten, Pac-12, and then the Big 12 deciding to continue their season. We talked about that last week. Since then, we've had a lot of other things come up. A lot of things have happened. Let's just go ahead and start with your Sooners. Lincoln Riley sent them home. And when they came back, 9 of them are now positive for COVID, so they're going to have to be isolated for 14 days and do all that stuff.
The word is apparently about 75%, I think, stayed around the campus and continued to work out. I think 25% of them went home. I don't know the exact number, how many went home. I'm sure some of the regional guys that live down in Texas went home, but they did say that a lot of those, and maybe even all 9 of them that tested positive, were community-based positive tests. So that means guys that stayed on campus, went out to, you saw last week that Jalen Redmond got a DUI. You know, was he one of them that tested positive? You know, you got to think these guys are going out. They shouldn't have had the week off. I know that in their minds they thought the season wasn't going to happen.
But I don't think Lincoln Riley should have sent him home until he knew that for certain.
Right.
I mean, I know they think something's going to happen, but to me, I know he's great X's and O's. He's a great coach. He's a great offensive mind. But I question this. I don't think this was smart from a head coaching standpoint to send your players, let them go home and leave campus.
On a Zoom call, he did say, you know, looking back on it, I regret letting them take the week off, but I would have also regretted having them up here for, you know, however many weeks. These are college kids that, you know, just going constantly, and they already started a month earlier, you know, a few weeks earlier than several other schools.
But at the same time, they lost spring. They lost spring practice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me...
But this is from start to finish. I mean, they're asking these kids to be there for... I mean, that's why fall camp starts, you know, 2 weeks prior to... They get breaks, but these kids, they hadn't had a break at all.
I know.
And he wanted to give that to them, and it's kind of biting them in the butt now. So
I just think that these are unique times, and obviously the best place for these kids to be are on campus in that bubble. And I just think, I know they hadn't had a break, but I just don't think that it was, given the scenario.
This may be a sign of things to come, because once they get into the season, they're not going to have a bubble.
Right.
You know, especially if fans are coming to the games. I know they're checking temperatures. They're gonna take all protocols they can.
Yep.
You know, I think I saw the OU Texas game announced that they'll be at 25% capacity.
Which is what each school is going to be individually, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Sticking with the Sooners this week, Grant Calcaterra announced that he's coming back to football, but he will hit the transfer portal. My thoughts on that is it was the OU medical staff that told him that he should probably step away due to the concussions that he had, and I can almost guarantee that coaching staff doesn't feel comfortable putting him back out on the field, so they'll just wish him well.
And we don't know that as fact, but that is what we think is happening. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, we'll stick with the Sooners for one more. Today actually was announced Kennedy Brooks is not going to play. He's opting out, so he would have been the starting running back.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're going to see a little bit more of this. There's already not reports, because nobody's going to give a name that is just speculation. But I don't think this is the first Sooner that you see opt out. I think that there's I've read in team meetings that they were kind of there was a small group of players that walked out of a team meeting, and they all weren't on the same page as wanting to play. So I think you're going to see this in a lot of teams that, you know, as it gets closer, it's good and everything to put it out on Twitter, say we want to play, but there are some kids that just, they have families that are telling them don't play. They have friends and people that just tell them, just sit out and get ready for the NFL.
Now that's what I wanted to get to is his decision purely a medical one on COVID-19? I don't think we know yet, or is it that he's thinking, I want to prepare for the NFL? And if it's the latter, my question is, and you would know better than me because you're the OU fan, is Kennedy Brooks the level of player that is going to be a top, and go in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft? Because I don't think he is.
Yeah.
So I don't. If his decision is being made to prepare for the NFL, I think it's a bad decision.
Yeah.
If it's being made for medical reasons, then I totally understand. I would never second guess a kid.
The thing that gets him, that makes him such a good college running back, is he's got elite level vision and patience. He is able to see a hole that not a lot of running backs are able to see. He waits for his time to cut up field, and last year he averaged, I believe, more. He was either the 1 or 2 player in the country at averaging more yards per carry.
He had 1,011 yards on 155 carries.
Yeah, 8.9 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, running backs just really aren't doing that.
Right.
But he was also splitting a lot of time between Trey Sermon and Kyler Murray, and then this year Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
So.
But I don't know. I think he's had such an up and down time here in Norman that it may have been easy for him to leave. He came in as a freshman with Rodney Anderson getting hurt, and really, I thought, if you guys have seen, been with us for a few years, I'd been advocating for him to be the number 1 back since his freshman year. Mm-hmm. I thought he was that good as far as a college back. Now, in the pros, that speed is going to be so much different that it's going to close down a lot faster.
Yep.
Whenever he gets wrapped up, he doesn't really break away from tackles very easily. He's kind of one hit and he's down, so I don't think he really has the strength or the size that's going to hold up to the NFL. I think he should stay a year. Yeah. I mean, and if it's COVID related, then nothing you can really say.
Well, if it's COVID related, then I think, because the NCAA, and we'll get into this more later, but the NCAA is likely going to give everybody a 6th year of eligibility.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to cause some problems with incoming freshmen. They still have to iron all that out. But if that's the case, and if it's COVID, then he should sit out and come back and play next year.
Well, and that's the thing is all I've seen is that he's opting out for this season. Okay. I haven't seen that he's opting out to prepare for the NFL. But you got to think, he's going into his 3rd year here. Yeah. Is he going to want to come back or take his chances and maybe land in the 5th or 6th round? And
that's where I see him being, as a 5th round, 5th,
yeah.
6th round. And when you go in that round, there's no guarantee you're going to be kept on the team at that point. So I think it's risky.
He's got his yards per carry is really good, but he really doesn't have a whole lot of touchdowns. I mean, he had 6 this last year. I think he had 12 the year before. Yeah. So as far as scoring, he's not one of those,
I think he was at a disadvantage this last year. I mean, it was kind of like the Jalen Hurts show anytime they were around the goal line. So I don't think touchdowns this past year is something you can look at.
That's where I kind of think that he may be frustrated with how his college, because in high school I remember him being a very productive back down in Texas. Yeah. In the best, I believe he was in the best division or whatever class down there in Texas.
6A.
And I remember he just had ungodly numbers.
Yeah. All right, so let's just quickly stay in the Big 12 for a second. We won't spend too much time on this, but Texas, their freshman wide receiver who was battling for playing time, his last name's Omeire. I think his first name is Terry. I think it's Troy Omeire. I could be wrong, and I could be pronouncing his last name wrong. Anyway, torn ACL, out for the season, so Texas takes a hit there. Other than that, I haven't heard a whole lot about Texas this year, like as far as what's going on with their camp and things like that. They've kind of stayed under the radar, which I think is good for them at this point.
Well, they've got basically a whole new coaching staff rather than other than a head coach. Yeah. So they have a lot of turnover there. So I'm not surprised that
Ellinger's back for his senior year.
Yeah.
So. Okay, now let's switch on to the Big Ten because, of course, the Big Ten is not playing football as of right now. However, on Sunday, Justin Fields started a petition urging the Big Ten to reinstate football, or at least let each individual school decide for themselves. Within hours, it got 200,000 signatures. I mean, and it's just going up from there. I can tell you that there's at least 5 Big Ten schools that parents are irate that they've canceled the season. And you got to think about Trey Sermon that transferred from Oklahoma. And, you know, he would have been a starter. Now he went to Ohio State, where he probably would have been the starter with Master Teague's injury, but now no season.
Yeah.
Justin Fields transfers from Georgia, and now, I mean, he was going to lead a Heisman campaign.
Yeah.
He was a front runner for the Heisman, him and Trevor Lawrence. No season for him. And I'm telling you now, this is going to hurt Big Ten recruiting.
Yeah,
it's going to.
It already is.
It is,
I mean,
and you got guys, and so that leads me into this, which was, we talked about this earlier today, the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Now, I saw a thing where there's somebody on ESPN had said there's so many guys in the transfer portal, it's kind of like it's not even worth getting into the transfer portal at this point. And then there was talk about how the NCAA has kind of said, you know, it's still the rule. You sit out a year if you transfer. But I have an issue with that, because you had Justin Fields transfer from Georgia to Ohio State, did not have to sit out a year, got a waiver. Kind of weak, the reasoning for it, in my opinion. I mean, he said he had hurt feelings, but his sister stayed at Georgia. But that beside the point. Now you had, I can't pronounce his name, but Tua Tagovailoa's brother.
Yeah.
He transfers from Alabama to Maryland and is immediately eligible to play this year, even though they're not having a season.
Well, wasn't Tate Martell?
Tate Martell got a waiver to immediately play. So my point is, how can the NCAA give those guys waivers for such minimal reasons? And now you've got entire conferences canceling their season, and COVID issues, and that's not a good enough reason to give them a waiver?
Well, what about their mental fortitude? I mean, a lot of these kids say mental distress. What about, you know, the mental distress of not being able to play a sport that you've been playing your entire lives, and your livelihood, your future could be riding on this, you know? It could cost a lot of these kids millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
And, you know, because who do you think the NFL is going to be watching this year? They're not going to be watching Big Ten or Pac-12 players. They're going to be watching SEC, Big 12, and ACC players.
That's right.
And you know, that's that much more film that they have on those guys. And I'm sorry, I just don't see how you do a spring season.
Spring's not happening. I don't care what the Big Ten says. It's not happening. Logistically, it can't happen, especially if the other 3 conferences go forward and they do play a season in the fall. You can't have the 2 conferences play their own season in the spring.
Right.
It's not going to work.
Who are you going to say is a national champion there?
Right. It's just impossible. So spring football, I'll call it right now, not happening. Dead. Not happening. So again, Big Ten. And then you have, and I brought this up before, with the Big Ten, if you're a kid in high school right now, there's no guarantee this coronavirus is going to go away before next fall. So if you go play at a Big Ten school or a Pac-12 school, you might not have football next year.
Yeah. That's
a real possibility. So I think that you're going to want to go somewhere where you think they're going to play. And right now, whether you believe it's right or wrong, the SEC was at the forefront. The SEC and the ACC was like, we're playing no matter what, we're playing.
Yeah.
And to me, if I've got a kid that's about to go to college who's got D1 potential and is being recruited by a Big Ten school and maybe a SEC or a ACC school, and we don't know if they're going to have football next year, and we want to play, he's going to SEC or ACC. Well, even though I'm an Ohio State fan, we're not taking that chance.
You've already seen Ohio State lost out on a fringe 5-star in Tunmi's Adele, and he, I don't know if he was the one, but there was another kid who decommitted somewhere. It may have been him, but I saw a quote from a kid that said, "I'm going to a school that supports football." And and that's exactly why Nebraska. I mean, it has to be. I believe they want to play, but why they came out right after the same day the Big 12 made their remarks and or made their decision, and Scott Frost came out and said, "We want to play. If there's a way we can find a way to play in a conference, we will do that."
But at the end of the day, if Nebraska left the Big Ten to play even one season, they'd give up $50 million. And
well, the word is they're not happy in the Big Ten anyway, and they're looking for a way out. Anyway.
It was yesterday, I believe, that the president and athletic director of Nebraska came out and said, we're committed long haul to being in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Like they came out and said it. So
Yeah.
that's what they say publicly. And a lot of times what's being said out in front of the cameras is not what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So
I mean, then that leads me to believe it's even more just recruiting wise. I mean, they want to show kids that, hey, we care about it. We're going to do everything we can to play and give you guys a good, foundation. And
I will say the Big Ten,
here.
Football matters in the Big Ten. Don't get me wrong, but the Big Ten schools are premier academic schools.
Yeah.
They really are. So I mean, it's not just about sports with the Big Ten. I mean, there's a lot of and for Nebraska to be in the Big Ten, that's a prestige that they're not going to get in another conference. I mean,
I don't understand how they can have students come back to campus and then just say no football.
That to me, it blows my mind, because this whole time we thought that there would be virtual on campus and then play football, and NCAA from the get-go said if there's no students on campus, we're not having football. Well, now we have students on campus and no football, and that makes no sense.
Yeah. Are they going to allow them to travel for winter break, for fall break, spring break? Like
the thing is, here's the deal, and I mean, they're getting negative attention for it, but this evening there was a tweet that was sent out by a college reporter at Oklahoma State. I don't know if you saw it or not, but last night there was a massive party. It looked like some massive party that you'd see in a movie. I mean, it was packed, shoulder to shoulder, dancing, singing. And they were kind of calling it out and saying, OSU students are not social distancing like they're supposed to and following protocols. Listen, that's happening in every campus where students are coming back across the country.
Yeah.
These kids are college kids. They want to drink and they want to party. And you know what? To me, I don't have a problem with it. Just do what you want to do. Enjoy your life. I mean, I don't want to get into politics of it, but in my opinion,
they're the least at risk.
They're the least at risk, and to me, this virus is here. We have to learn what to deal with it and live with it. And so I don't fault these kids for going out and having a good time. They're going to continue to do it. And I've said from the get-go that if you have a COVID-19 problem on campus, it won't be because of kids going to classes.
Yeah.
It's going to be because of that. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, no matter how much they try to lock them in a bubble, some football players are going to be at these parties.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. So, I mean, you can't stop it. I mean, literally, the only thing that you can do is literally lock the whole country down in their homes and don't let anybody leave for 40 days or whatever, and you can't go anywhere. And you close every Walmart and 7-Eleven and everything. You close everything down. And maybe you'll get rid of it that way, but it would probably still be here. Yeah. So anyway, I didn't mean to get out on a tangent, but it's just kind of like one of those deals.
Well, so on to the SEC. Pete Thamel had tweeted out today there's some kind of, I wouldn't say controversy, but some of the schools are upset with the conference because there's very little transparency on how they picked who plays who in those extra 2 games. Yeah. So, there was an SEC Shorts. If you catch those films,
I'll put a link to it in the description.
They're
Go
pretty
watch
funny.
their video. It's funny.
But they just talked about Arkansas and Missouri kind of getting the short end of the stick there.
Yep.
Having to play Alabama, LSU, Florida, Georgia. I mean, they really got.
And apparently, and I forget who reported this, but I know that I saw where all the SEC coaches, I guess, yesterday or Friday was on a conference call, and it got really heated.
Yeah.
I mean, the description said it'd make for great reality TV.
Yeah.
Because half the coaches are irate,
yeah.
and they want to know what was the formula to decide this, and the SEC can't tell them because there wasn't one.
I think either Alabama or LSU got Kentucky, and so it was pretty unfair how
it
they.
Was very unfair. It was very unfair. Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything that I can think of at the moment. I mean, it's a day-to-day basis. A lot of things continue to happen.
We will continue to keep our eyes out on anything that might come up. If there's anything you want to see us cover, put it down in the comments section, and we'll look into it. So we didn't have very much on the ACC, but we'll keep our eyes out.
Just because everything's been up in the air, like I haven't really researched teams or any of that, and the only thing I hear about the Big 12, because we're in Big 12 country right now, the Big 10 that they canceled. I mean, it's just, we're going day to day here.
Yeah.
So but yeah, you're right. If you guys want to comment, if there's anything going on at your school, your favorite school that you want us to know about, you think we should talk about, shoot us a comment. You can even email us or whatever. But yeah, I think there's an email address linked to our YouTube channel page.
Yeah.
So you should be able to go there.
I saw we dropped under 5,000, so let's get
Well,
those subscribers back up.
Yeah, it kind of like, without even doing any videos, we went from 5,000 to like 4,980.
Yeah.
And that happens every year, right before people go in, they start cleaning out their subscriptions.
Well, I'm sure the Pac-12 fans
sometimes.
probably,
Well,
we
yeah.
probably lost some over
I know,
that
but
last
at the same time, there's one guy said, well, I'm a Pac-12 fan, so I guess I'm unsubscribing. Another guy came in and said, dude, I'll make up for that. I'll get 4 people to subscribe to make up for your whatever. You know, it's all fun and games. It's good. I do want to just remind you guys before we get off here, though. Look, I'm all about free speech, and I like people to say whatever they want to say and have their opinions. But being this is a sports channel, sports and politics don't mix. Personal attacks don't work.
Yeah.
Vulgar language. If you use the F word, your comment's getting deleted. I mean, and I'm sorry if you get upset about that, but we're going to keep it clean. I don't respond to every comment, but I do read every comment. And so if it gets out of hand, they're getting deleted. And I hope you guys can understand that. So.
Yeah.
That's all we have for now. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Hit that notification bell to know every time we upload a new video. Comment, and we'll see you next time. Take care.